Everyone knows that Henry VIII had 6 wives, but did you know that Mary Queen of Scots had 3 husbands? Let's rank them all out of 10. First up, we've got Francis II, King of France. Mary and Francis were actually betrothed since infancy in order to strengthen the alliance between France and Scotland. They were also playmates, having both been brought up together in the French court. They married in 1558, when Mary was only 16 and Francis 14 years old. Sadly, they barely had 2 years together before Francis would die of an ear infection, which has to be the most embarrassing way for a king to die in history. 3 out of 10. Number 2, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. After Francis's death, Mary returned to Scotland looking for a new husband, and boy did she find one with Lord Darnley. Henry Stuart was kind of the Matty Healy of this story. He was a bad boy who liked to party, and Mary's friends thought he was bad for her, but she loved him. She thought he was charismatic, handsome, and he didn't have a beard, which apparently was a great thing. They were married in 1565. However, Mary soon found out that being married to an arrogant party boy who likes to go out and get drunk every night wasn't much fun. Mary and Darnley were soon estranged from each other, although they did manage to produce the future James VI at one point. And this next part of the story is when he turns from a Matty Healy figure into more of a Charles Manson, when in 1566 Darnley burst into Mary's chambers unannounced and brutally stabbed to death her secretary and friend David Rizzio right in front of her eyes. If that doesn't kill a marriage, nothing will. Darnley was becoming more and more unpopular, especially with Mary. In 1567, his dead body was discovered in the garden of his house Kirkerfield in Edinburgh. The house had been blown up, and to this day no one quite knows who did it, although I'm not saying it wasn't Mary. 1 out of 10. 3. James Hepburn, Lord Bothwell. So now we're moving from bad boy territory into Mary essentially marrying the Stuart version of Darth Vader. In 1567, Mary married Bothwell, who may or may not have had something to do with the death of Darnley. There's a lack of historical clarity here over whether Mary was actually kidnapped by Bothwell and forced to marry him. Either way, I feel if people are talking about kidnapping and your marriage in the same sentence, it's probably not a great relationship. The Scottish nobility were fearful of what Bothwell would do with his newfound power as the Queen's consort. Barely as soon as they were married, Mary and Bothwell were confronted by an angry confederate of Scottish nobles. Mary was taken prisoner, and Bothwell fled north. This was the start of the end for Mary, who would thereafter spend most of her life imprisoned by other people until she was finally executed by Elizabeth I. Bothwell didn't fare much better. He spent the rest of his life in a Danish prison where he was chained to a pillar for the last 10 years of his life. He died in 1578. -2 out of 10. So there you go, the 3 husbands of Mary Queen of Scots. The bar truly is in hell. And if you want to know more about Mary and her incredible life, you can. I've written a book called Life Lessons from Historical Women, where I talk about Mary and what makes her such a fascinating figure. You can get it now in all good bookshops and as an audiobook.